Welcome to the Intel Gold Coast Oceanfest here in Croyd, North Devon, England. In this, its 7th year, organiser Warren Latham talks us through the weekend's proceedings.
Oceanfest is really about fun for the whole family. 12 different free sports, free music, and enjoyment for everybody, really.
It's a really nice vibe here. There's loads going on. Everyone's having a really good time, and there's loads of people on the water, so it's a great weekend.
The Gold Coast Festival itself is welcomed with open arms by local villagers, as it were, because it is such a family day and a family event. It's ideal for the village. People do look forward to it.
It is very laid back. You know, people don't come here to grind up against the crash barriers in the front and watch the bands. You know, they come here as a family day out just to have fun in the adrenaline zones, get into the trade village, spend time on the beach. Look at all the sports. I mean, from surfing, paddleboard racing, beach football, beach volleyball, kite surfing, surf ski races, Australian surf boats. You really couldn't go wrong. Skateboarding, mountain bike trials, the whole thing. It's just entertainment.
I think this is the 6th year that the festival's been going. It's my first time here, but I know it's gone from strength to strength. And as far as a free festival goes, with all the entertainment and world-class athletes and world-class musicians playing, there's nothing like it.
We've got a fantastic venue here on North Devon's Gold Coast. They're all blue flag beaches, perfect surf. You couldn't ask for much more, really. It's the best place to have an event.
With the sun shining aplenty, the crowds from all over the UK are in for one hell of an action-packed weekend. When you mention surfing in the village of Croyd in the same sentence, there's usually one name that springs to mind, and that's local ripper Scott Rannigan.
There is plans to run off the O'Neill Pro Open today, shortboard surf contest. As you can see, the surf ain't quite delivering at the moment, but some good boys have turned up, and hopefully we should have an event on our hands, because there's a big fat purse. £1,000 winner takes all! Gotta be up for it.
We've got everybody from European, you know, pro surfers. We've got Jason Aparicio here. We've got little 12-year-old children as well who are doing it for the experience. So we go from sort of European champions down to little groms.
The conditions suit grommets. Yeah, today. So it could be a bit bigger, but it's rideable. Well, for me. But yeah, I don't know how all the older ones will get on though. They're a bit bigger.
I want to win, man, for my kids. They need Pampers and all sorts of stuff, so I'm winning, man. Those little kids are not beating me today. I've got in my head, I've already won in my head. I just got to do it now, so I'm doing it. That's how you got to be in competition, you know. If you're like, we'll see and all that, you lose. You know, you got to mentally beat the people and then go out there and physically beat them. I'm winning.
Yeah, it's a case of pure performance, just getting out there and posting some big scores if you can. And hopefully as the tide gets better, there'll be some bigger scores coming through.
When there's that much money on the line, I think the boys are going to dig deep no matter what the surf's like. You know what I mean? But with the turn of the tide and the push, might squeeze a couple of foot out of it, which would still be able to put on a bit of a show for the public, you know?
The opening rounds of the O'Neill British Open, and in small but challenging conditions, a collection of international surfers get the contest underway. From charging Indonesian reef breaks to the fickle coastline of the UK, Duncan Scott in orange is quite possibly the whole package, and here uses his experience to cruise through the opening rounds.
Pretty slow start to that heat, and then a flurry of nervous activity at the end, so I'm hoping it's going to be enough. Well, I think the guy to watch out in this event is Jason Aparicio from Trinidad. He's very light on his feet. He's surfing the European circuit, so he's fine-tuned to small waves like this, and he's got his wife and kids with him here, so he's ready to feed and buy nappies for them all. So he's pretty motivated, and he's been surfing really fast.
With his kids watching Daddy from the beach, Jason uses the small conditions to his advantage. Creating speed and fluidity out the 2-foot waves on offer, the London-born Trinidad-based surfer comfortably advances.
try to catch the better ones. It's just sometimes the plan never works out the way you want it to, you know, so. But no, it's all right. I think it's all right. I had a good first heat. I had 2 big scores, so hopefully it'll average out and I'll get in there.
Come on, Scott, you should be used to this bay by now. And not too upset, Scott bombs out of the second round.
It's going off. I was killing it all the way, like, you know. I'm surprised if I won't be in the final. I got out early because I thought I'd save myself the humiliation.
Defending Gold Coast champion Josh Ash ain't too worried about the smaller offerings. Creating impressive speed in tiny waves, Josh manages to impress the judges and moves ever closer to the final.
It was okay actually, yeah, a couple of little less before because my first heat was so bad, so yeah, it was nice to get a couple of little waves that actually pulled up and you could surf, you know, so it's good.
It's not all about the big boys this weekend, and the Groms put on a great show and could possibly take the title. And with that in mind, we'll be back later in the show for the final of the British Open here at the Gold Coast Oceanfest. Another aspect to the weekend is the Red Bull Mini skate ramp. Talking us through the action are skaters Paul Bacosby and Mark Churchill.
We got 2 ramps here. We got one very small ramp which is just for the children, just a bit of an introduction, a bit of a platform for them to try something out obviously. Then we got the bigger ramp which is for the pro demos.
Behind us we've got the Red Bull mini ramp, just doing a few demos, showing the kids what you can do on a mini ramp. A lot of kids down here haven't skated a lot and they're just getting on the ramp, having a go. Just to see the smiles on kids' faces like when they drop in for the first time or they're just pumping backwards and forwards, getting speed, and they're just like, you know, real scared, and then they'll come off and they're just like that and they just can't wait to get back on again. It's brilliant.
Anybody can turn up, sign a disclaimer form and we can coach them if they're struggling with a particular trick. And they need a little bit of help or encouragement, you know, we can do that, that's no problem. And like I say, it's a public access ramp basically.
The demos, every single one's different. Someone will just go crazy, or some of them are a bit chilled, more technical. Everyone will get into a technical session doing lip tricks, and sometimes everyone will just be blasting out the top doing big airs and things like that.
So we've got quite a good team of pros here. There's some guys from Vans, there's like the no comply team. It's cool for the audience.
A few local guys really good as well, like, you know, just totally took us by shock, just turn up and just cane the ramp for hours, and they're all just there just going at it and at it and at it, and we're all like, oh, let's go and sit down, I'm knackered. They're all like, so it's real good, there's loads of good people here.
We leave the skaters flipping their way through the day and head back down to the beach to check out a revolutionary new surfboard. It looks like a surfboard, but just look a little closer.
What we have is Intel's new computerized surfboard, which has a tablet PC built into it. So while I'm out surfing, I can surf the web as well, and emailing my friends, checking my credit card statements, all those important things that you do. The idea came from Intel's crew. They're looking at a way to demonstrate their new Centrino wireless technology. So it's a completely uncluttered, you know, real-time connected surfboard.
I think it's really showing us how we can take this technology and build it into something like a surfboard. So it's really just showing how we can creatively build it into different applications.
On the board we have a touch-sensitive screen here, so there's no keyboard per se, but you know, through the waterproof screen you can touch the keys and do all your typing. You can browse MP3s, you can play music if you want to plug in some headphones and listen to your own tunes out the back. And it's all the functions of a businessman's PC brought to you in the lineup. So if you're a busy man and can't get away for a few hours, you can just keep in touch like this.
It's a development of technology. It can move itself further on. I think at the moment what we have here is an exciting prototype, and that's really what it is. I think it can move itself on without a doubt. You know, when people first picked up a brick-sized mobile phone, nobody realised that they'd have a little pocket version with a camera in it nowadays.
There is
an element of simplicity in surfing and being away from everything, being uncluttered. And that's kind of what this technology does. It sort of frees you up to do the things you want to do, where you want to do, sort of without restrictions. I think my whole generation is getting used to technology without limits, and that's something we expect, and it's something what surfing's about. It's a sport without limits. There's no referee, there's no rules. You just do what feels good and what's enjoyable and what's fun.
As Duncan heads back out to check his emails, we head back to one of the weekend's main attractions. Created by the ancient Hawaiians, paddle racing has become one of the ways to test a true waterman's mettle.
The Bude's BigBoy Paddle race is a challenge for the average surfer to paddle a under 10-foot board from Saunton Beach to Croy Beach. It takes place every year on the midsummer weekend, and it's about 2.4 kilometers, and it's really all about the guys who surf every weekend getting an opportunity to paddle for a charity of their cause.
Here at the Gold Coast Oceanfest, 23 local watermen brave the cold waters of North Devon and embark on a race that will separate the men from the boys. Two and a half kilometers may not sound like too far for some, but when you've got the pressure of competing in a coveted annual race, it's head down and paddle as hard and as fast as you can. Stretch, and this guy's about to take home the silverware in front of a home crowd. A surfer in second watches on. With the finish line in his sights, he feels the glory and pride of winning the event, but Blueboard surfer is closing in fast. Oh, disaster! He's losing, no, he's lost his lead, and Blueboard surfer finds some energy from low down and races past to take the lead and the win. However, he's forgotten one thing, his board. An original leader wins the race with his board.
The winning time today, 23 minutes, 13 seconds, which is about a minute shy of the record, so good paddle.
Close, but no cigar. Unlucky, mate.
Oh my good God.
After the paddle race, it was back down the beach for the final of the O'Neill British Open. With a growing crowd, brothers Josh and Ruben Ash in orange and yellow take on contest favourite Jason Aparicio in white. With conditions still a tricky 2 foot, the four surfers make the most out of the waves and put on a great show for both the judges and the festival goers at the Gold Coast Oceanfest.
So, after 4 hours of systolic surfing, the winner is 2 years running, Josh Ash.
It was wicked just getting to the final. Me and my brother, it was super cool, both of us getting there. And I wanted to relax. Usually I get all tense up and I start you know, going, oh, I'm going to lose and lose and lose. So I just try to relax, try to keep myself focused, try not to think about the event. Then I went back in there for the 20 minutes, you know, full going for it, and yeah, you know, went to plan, and here we go, you know, another year, so fully stoked.
With Josh taking the win, we'll see you next year at the Intel Gold Coast Oceanfest.